It is 2016. Georgina, you are 18 years old. You've graduated high school relatively recently. You're in your first year at Berkeley. And your grandmother has called you home on spring break. With and you think it is probably so that she can bequeath her skin to one of your older sisters. These are pretty big family deals, so everybody tends to show up. What you are not expecting is that you arrive and the first full day that you are there, everybody has dinner. It's a lovely little celebration for everybody. Everything seems normal, really. Your grandmother's a little bit quiet, but she's getting on in her years. She has her moments where she just doesn't feel like talking to anybody, and nobody can tell her what to do. And towards the end of the dinner, she puts her fork down and stands up, and with her hands each planted on the table, kind of looks over the family for a long moment and fixes her eyes on you. Georgina, you will come with me, please.
All right. I look at my siblings who are sitting next to me. Just, sorry, get up.
Phoebe and Rebecca kind of watch in confusion, but shrug a little bit. They don't know what this is about either.
I sort of give them the do you know what's happening?
They seem just as confused as you do. And you follow your grandmother from the dining room into this little courtyard type of area. It's the reality is that there's a pool for her to hang out in. It's one of those saltwater pools for when she's home and doesn't necessarily want to go down to the beach, which is rare. She doesn't use the pool as much as it was probably intended to be used, but it's lovely. But there's, rather than having it built up like a typical pool where it's all concrete around it, it is there is as little concrete and rock as she can get away with. And most of the rest of it is plants, lots of cacti, things like that. And she moves over and lowers herself to sit on the edge of the pool, kind of pulls her skirt up so that her feet can dangle in the water, and pats the spot beside her. You sit.
Yeah, I'll sit next to her. Is everything okay?
Everything is fine. How is college, university?
It's been good. I'm doing well in classes. It's all GE stuff, so I kind of hoped APs would get me out of most of them, and it didn't, I guess. Then Georgie sort of like wants to say, she kind of is like deciding whether or not she says it or not. And like, there's like, she can't lie to her grandmother. That's not, she's never had to and she never wants to.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect college to be as lonely as it ended up being. Between not being with all of you and going to school with people who I didn't go to elementary school with, that sort of thing.
Yes, you are also far away from important parts of your life. Parts that normal humans don't understand.
Yeah, there's that too.
I imagine it is difficult to go from such a large crowd of people to a bigger crowd of people where you don't know so many people.
Yeah. And they're, I think not having people who get where we come from is hard.
Yes.
But I'm doing good.
She
We'll
kind of
get there.
reaches over and pats your hand. Your mother tells me you're doing well in your classes. I am sorry that the social things are so much harder for you.
It's fine. My roommate's great. We've got it. Like the kids in my classes are great. Where we hang out sometimes. It's good. My roommate's been bringing her boyfriend over a lot. It's weird. It's fine. I don't know. I'm sorry. Are you? Should we get back? You?
No, I asked you to come with me. They will wait. She kind of looks up at the sky for a long moment and then lifts one foot and kind of watches the water drip off of it before putting it back into the water. I have a gift for you and a responsibility. You will hopefully one day thank me for one, and the other you will forgive me for, I hope.
And Georgie has this feeling like it feels like a train is coming at her. I can't. You're not. That's. Phoebe's older.
Phoebe is boring.
She's
boring. She is one of my family and I love her very much, but she clings to her normality like it is a shield.
Don't you want us to have, I don't know, she's just got engaged. Don't you think that you want someone with a big family to take on this responsibility?
She kind of gives a little smile. You are from my line. One day you will have a big family. I have faith in this. Even if you don't feel like you will now.
And is there a reason Becca isn't better suited to this?
She thinks it is owed to her.
She works so hard.
Yes, but she has always felt like it is owed to her. She sees the same problem in Phoebe that I have said. Phoebe is very, very normal. And that is good for Phoebe if that makes her happy. But it will not save her if I give her this. And Rebecca, again, I love her. She works very hard. I will support her in any way I can, as I always have. But she acts entitled to it, while doing none of the things that one would do to prove that she wants it.
I assumed that they were... I assumed that's... I think we all thought you wanted the safety of people who were stable.
She kind of gives a little smile. Contrary to what your grandmother or your grandfather and I may present to the world, stability is not a typical thing for our kind. We have worked very hard to get what we have. But it is not for everyone who has a skin. It's for very few of us who have skin. And there are different kinds of stability. But I remember you coming over to swim when you were little and going with me to the shore and listening to the stories that your grandfather told and the look in your eye.
They were good stories.
They were the truth. And it was one that you embraced. You never shied from it, never waved it off as something boring. And she's sitting there and she has her shawl around her shoulders. And as she is talking, she kind of slowly begins to reach up and slide it off of her shoulders, so that she is holding it kind of folded in her lap. This has passed from mother to daughter and grandmother to granddaughter for as far back as any of our records have been able to show. Perhaps further back than the time our kind has been in the Autumn world.
I don't... That's you.
Yes. And it will be you. It will take time to adjust. But we are lucky in that our change does not come all at once like it does for others. And we were raised in all of this.
Yes. But I don't know the first thing about the other stuff.
You will learn.
Yeah, but you're a knight. And there's a kingdom involved.
No one expects you to be a knight. Not right off the bat.
I'm studying. I'm studying chemistry. That's not a fairy thing.
It's not. It will help you survive, help you do what you love. You want to foster the dreams of others. That's all art is. And she reaches over, and as you're about to say something else, she very gently places the shawl in your hands, in one of your hands, and takes the other and puts it on top. You say that at school you feel lonely. This will help. I can't explain how. It's something you have to experience, but you will feel more whole than you have ever felt.
What happens to you?
She shrugs a little bit. I grow old, which I was already doing. I swim with my legs and not flippers.
But isn't this how you're attached to? Isn't this part of you?
It is. But it is also a part of you now.
I don't. I'm not.
You are ready. I wouldn't give it to you if I didn't think you were.
Thank you. I don't think this is... I have never dreamed of this.
I know. Just as you have never acted like you were owed it.
Okay. I will try to do my best.
Remember the stories your grandfather and I told you, and trust yourself. Trust this part of you. And she taps the shawl. And things will become easier, clearer as time goes on.
Okay. All right.
The skin knows things. Georgina, it does. You don't believe me, but it does. It has a knowledge and a desire and a drive that will find ways to meld with yours.
I am not. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, and yes, I will endeavor to make it. I will endeavor to live up to it, and you.
You don't have to live up to me. You're not here to replace me, Georgina. You are just here to take your spot. The knighthood and Fiona and the House of Fiona and all of that will sort itself out in time with or without you. Your only job is to figure out who you are with this.
With it.
as a part of it.
All right. I can do that.
You can. Now, we stand up and go back inside before they think I've drowned you. And she stands up. For someone who is getting on in years, she is still pretty spry. And she gets up pretty quickly and then holds out a hand to help you up.
Thanks. And Georgie will take it and kind of adjusting, trying to hold the shawl like a little too reverently, and which is making it hard to move and kind of.
Once you're on your feet, she'll kind of tisk at you, and she will very gently take the shawl and just wrap it around your shoulders. It is not as delicate as it looks.
Thank you. Georgie will nod and sort of try to get comfortable under it.
As it is wrapped around your shoulders, there is a moment where you feel like you have been enfolded in a hug that immediately reminds you of the first time you went swimming with your grandparents down at the shore, and a wave went over your head and you panicked and you were snatched up from under the water and wrapped up in your grandmother's arms for a minute until you kind of got your bearings. It reminds you of that sort of warm, safe, stable feeling. And then there's a little rush of delight that goes down your spine.
I think for the first time, since she's gone to college even, Georgie has this wolfish grin. Sealish. And she's can't help but just full toothy grin.
Your grandmother kind of smiles back at you and does that thing where she kind of very gently pinches your chin. That's what I thought. Now come on, inside.
You're going to have to explain to the others what's happening because they're going to be pissed.
They'll figure it out. And you let me worry about them. I'm not afraid of the master at arms at court. I'm certainly not going to be afraid of your siblings. And she leads the way inside. As you are walking, you feel the shawl shift on you. It begins to kind of hug to your body a little bit. You feel, rather than it just draping over your shoulders, you feel it wrapping itself around your arms. And by the time you get into the table and you kind of glance down at yourself, you realize that you are wearing a kind of beautiful, supple brown leather, it almost looks like a designer jacket. And your siblings all kind of look up at you, and there's a moment where Phoebe looks a little bit questioningly, and you can see her eyeing the coat like she doesn't understand where that came from, because you definitely didn't have that when you left the house, and your room is on the other side of the house. And then Rebecca is eyeing it, and then Rebecca's eyes are the first ones to go to your grandmother, and they look at her shoulders and realize that her shawl is not there for maybe one of the first times in her life. she realizes that your grandmother doesn't have her shawl on, and they go really wide, and then they look back at you, and then they look back at your grandmother, and then they look back at you, and it is like Phoebe, Rebecca, and Lacey all realize simultaneously what has happened. And then there is just a burst of people talking and yelling and questions, and it is kind of chaos for a minute, in which Georgie, being who she is an island of calm. And your grandmother, who is one of the most fiery, hot-tempered people you've ever met, just sort of sits there quietly for a moment, watching them. And then your grandfather's fist slams down on the table because he's sitting at the other end, hard. And everybody jumps and pauses and looks at him. And this hot-tempered Irishman kind of glares at all of them. You'll sit down at my table, and you'll be civil and quiet. Now. And slowly everybody kind of like sits back in their seats from where they were sort of leaning forward as they were yelling to each other and at each other and asking questions of your grandmother. All kind of eyes wide, like, oh, Granddad put the law down? And he looks at you and gives you a warm smile.
I give as confident as a grin as I can give back.
And he just winks. And your grandmother finally clears her throat and looks at everyone. I've made my decision, and it is final, and we will not be arguing about it tonight. If people have questions, they are welcome to approach me in the morning in a calm manner, and I will answer what I can. But my decision is done. And there's you get the sense that your siblings aren't necessarily ready to give up, but I'll also recognize that they probably shouldn't argue anymore.
Not with either of them, frankly.
No.
You can't. We're a loud family.
And that's fine. Being loud is fine. Being rude is not. They were being rude.
Yeah.
And so your family returns to their meals. Chowing down, eating quietly. There are constant glances from Phoebe and Rebecca. Lacey kind of leans in and whispers, "It looks really good on you."
Thank you.
You seem happier.
I think I feel happier.
Good. And for the most part, dinner goes on pretty well. David kind of leans over and gives you a hug at one point, just to let you know that he didn't completely abandon you. He was not quite as like up in arms as your older sisters were, because he never expected it to come to him. Most of his reactions were reactions to other people reacting, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. I'm never the one in trouble.
Because you're the chill one. And that's how your visit with your family pretty much goes. The next few days are very tense. Your older sisters are not thrilled. There are certainly points of contention And there's a little bit of like cold shouldering now and then. But your grandfather takes you out, and you get to go for your first swim in this in the skin. He's like, I'm sure that you could figure this out on your own, but I'm just gonna make sure that you at least understand the basics. And so he explains things about how the skin works in terms of like it's really hard to damage. You've got to keep it with you, or the things that it allows you to do won't work. That sort of thing. And then he takes you swimming, and it's the most free you have ever felt. And eventually you are packed back up and sent back to Berkeley. And it is on your second night back on campus when you are starting to think that really all there is to this is to, how to put this? All there really is to having the skin is that you just feel a little bit more confident, and you know, you walk a little bit taller. And you've just kind of accepted that that's just how it is. I got to go swimming every once in a while to feel good about myself, and otherwise I'm just going to be chill and happy. And
fairness,
go ahead.
In fairness, I was already going swimming to feel good about myself because I like to swim.
That's fair, but it's more than that now.
Yeah.
It feels like a part of your soul is more at home in the water than it is anywhere else. In a way that you're like, it's like a magnet. You can't imagine ever living anywhere that isn't on the coastline.
I made a point when we went back up to Berkeley that I brought my board with me. It's not as good surfing up that way, but it'll be better than it. It's just nice. It's nice to get out. For sure.
You were on your second night back at college when something strange happens. You are working on your on a paper, probably in your room. Your roommate is off with her boyfriend. She came by earlier. She got ready. You guys chatted a little bit, and then there was a knock at the door, and she was gone. She promises that she will text you before they come back if they decide to come back here, so that you have the option to dip out of the room if you would like.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there working on your paper, got music going. It's, you know, kind of, I imagine, given everything that has happened, you have put together a playlist where you have some of your favorite songs, but they are overlaid with the sounds of the ocean.
It's you run the ocean sounds on YouTube while you have Spotify running in the background.
Exactly.
A little bit of a cacophony, but I like it.
And you're sitting there working and listening to this and just sort of vibing out. And you hear the sound of metal scraping against like metal scraping against metal. I'm sure you are familiar with the sound that is in most like fantasy movies when a sword is drawn from a scabbard. That's what it sounds like. Like it's coming from right behind you.
I really hope Angela's not dating a theater kid. Yeah, I'll turn. What the hell?
There's nothing there. Just your room. Empty.
I'll check if my window is open.
It is not.
Okay, well, probably part of one of the songs I was listening to. I'll go. I have to finish this, so I'll go back to working.
About an hour later, you find, so you're working on this, and it's not the most exciting paper in the world. And you've been very diligent for a couple of hours now. but you're starting to get a little bit sleepy. But you're like, nope, I'm going to finish. I'm just going to keep working until it's done. It's almost there. Maybe another 45 minutes and it'll be good, and it'll be done, and I won't have to worry about it when the due date comes.
Mm-hmm.
And your eyes kind of start to do that slow blink where you're staring at your laptop screen. And you don't think you closed them. But you see, like it is happening in front of you. You see a misty twilight path through high green grass beside a coastline, and you can feel the powerful body of a horse beneath you, where you are like bent low over its neck and riding hard. And there is a pair of arms wrapped around your middle. Like you can smell the horse. You can see the steam coming off of it as you rush through this mist, and it hits the hot body of the animal. And then you blink and you're staring at your screen again.
What time is it? Shit. I must have fallen asleep.
Probably like 10:30, 11 o'clock. Pretty late. You were up for an early class this morning.
Yeah. I'm weird. I stand up and I'll open the window, get some fresh air. I can do like one more page, and I'll just go to bed after.
Okay. You work on that next page. You get about 3/4 of the way through, and you're like, all right, I'm done. I'm too tired. I can't keep doing this, because your eyes keep closing, and every time they close, you feel like you're back on top of a horse. You've never ridden a horse in your life.
Nope, I'm scared of them. Not like big scared, they're just big animals.
Yeah, they're a little intimidating. That's fine. But you every time you start to nod off, it feels like you're back in that place. And eventually you're like, okay, I gotta get up, I'm gonna clear my head, and then I'm going to bed.
Yeah, I'm just clearly it's time to go to bed, so wind down, brush teeth, brush hair, wash face.
You settle into bed for the night. After as you are getting ready, your roommate texts and says she's not coming back to the room tonight. She's going to her boyfriend's place.
Thank God. I like him just fine. I just
you don't want him in your space. It's fine.
I don't want him in my space. That's weird. I don't want to.
You crawl into bed and fall asleep, and you dream deep, dark, utterly forgetful dreams. That when you wake up in the morning, everything seems fine. 3 days later, you are finishing up your last class, and you go to stand up, and one of the boys in your class bumps into the table that you're sitting at in your chemistry course. All of the dangerous stuff is put away, but the boys are roughhousing because they're boys. And he knocks a bunch of your books off the desk when he sort of gets bowled over. And you kneel down to start gathering them. And as you do that, you have this moment where you feel like you've been here before, but not here in this classroom doing this thing. You feel like you have been kneeling before someone before with your head bowed in respect. And then you go to like shift your muscles a little bit and you swear you feel like you were encased in metal. Like it's wrapped around you like a cocoon.
Ugh.
But it doesn't feel like restrictive. You could move if you wanted to. But the metal would go with you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And you have that moment and you kind of roll your shoulders and look up again and you're back in the classroom.
Ugh. Maybe I'm... Mhm. So we're in the second half of the semester. I'm just getting... We're just back from spring break. I'm gathering my books.
He does bend down to help you, by the way.
Thank you.
Welcome. He kind of meets your eyes and gives you like that broad, boyish grin. And there's a tiny part of you that wonders if that wasn't on purpose, him knocking everything over.
All right. Well, we'll unpack that later. I'm gonna just thank you. And was I'll text my grandmother, I guess. I don't know who to ask about this.
Grandmother or grandfather.
I'll text my grandmother.
Okay.
I actually don't know what to text her. I don't know how to ask. So I just send a miss you.
She texts back about an hour later. Your grandmother's always kind of struggled a little bit with her phone. Not that she doesn't know how to use it. Like she could do the basics. She could text and call and things like that. And she takes pictures. And some of them are even fully visible. But her struggle is that she struggles to remember to take it with her when she is like moving around doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So she spent so long in the age of phones are stationary things that she puts her phone down and then she walks away and it'll be hours before she remembers she doesn't have her phone with her. So it takes about an hour and a half for you to get a response. And you get back, I miss you too. How is school?
Immediately just writes, school is fine. I'm doing great. Almost on instinct. It like autofills.
Mm-hmm.
And that sends.
Go ahead.
And then I sort of remember, I'm like, oh, how do I ask what I need to ask? It's probably nothing, but should I know anything about having this? And I send a emoji of the jacket of like a little coat.
Keep it with you.
What about dreams? Question mark.
What do you mean dreams?
Never mind, it's nothing. I'm really enjoying having it.
I'm glad that if you have questions, you can always ask. I'm here.
I've got it. Thank you, though.
Of course. And you return to your day. A week later. It seems like the weirdness has stopped. Everything seems fine.
Yeah, see, it's fine.
And you're in bed one night and you drift off. And you are having a dream that feels a dream that's it's a dream, but it doesn't feel like a dream. Does that make sense? It almost feels real, but you can't see anything exactly. It's dark, but you can tell that you are holding on to another person, and you are in kind of the throes of passion. And then you wake up as there is there's like this really loud bang, 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 and you wake up and you are in your room, and it's you and your roommate, and she is fast asleep.
Is someone still knocking at the door? Or
Well, she's asleep, so if anybody is, they didn't wake her up. And there's no noise coming from the door currently.
Okay. Weird. I'm gonna step out and get some air.
As you throw some clothes on so that you're, not stepping outside in your like a t-shirt and underwear. Throw some clothes on, step outside, and you realize as you were getting ready to head for the door, that you hear the sound, a sound that is pretty rare in California, which is the sound of rain hitting the window.
Mm-hmm.
And so you reached out and you grab out of the out of your little like wardrobe thing that you have, like this old but cool looking umbrella. It's one of those really long ones with like the curved handle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got this gorgeous, like, you bought it because of this. It was painted and then like sealed so that the paint wouldn't run if it got wet.
Mm-hmm.
And the painting is like waves cresting along it, starting at the bottom. And you grab that, just, if it's going to be raining really heavily, you should have it. And when you grab it and you start to step out of the door, you have this feeling like you have held something like this before. And suddenly it feels heavier in your hand, weightier. And instinctively you pull it close or pull it towards you and then kind of spin it at your side and then bring it up and in front of you in like an arc, and then downward near your hip like you were sheathing a sword. And then you realize what you were doing and you're like, what the hell was that? And
thank God it's nighttime.
Relax a little bit. Yeah.
I know my grandmother's stories.
You do.
And I kind of understand that the skin has the memories of her, I think.
Make me a...
Don't make me roll.
I am going to make you roll. Make me an intelligence and gray mare roll. 5 points.
Pull a bunch of stuff. I forgot that I would have... Playing this game would require me having a character sheet.
I mean... You know, it's always a question whether or not these are going to require prologues like this are going to require rolls. It's 5 dice.
Thank you. Why are we rolling shit?
In bot channel.
Thank you.
/dice space roll.
Oh, I gotta find it. We have so many channels. Cut all this out.
Right above the voice stuff.
Thank you. Oh, I have it like super muted. /roll.
/dice space roll.
Ooh, crazy. And then it's 5 difficulty what?
6.
2 successes.
Okay. What you remember from your grandfather and your grandmother's stories is that the explanation of how changelings work is that most of them are basically fey souls that have been integrated with mortal souls, so they go through a rebirth process.
Mm-hmm.
When they die, they are reborn again and have the chance to go through chrysalis and become changelings again. In the case of a selkie like yourself, rather than a rebirth process happening, those lives are in the coat. The fey soul is the coat, and it gets passed along.
It's
so yes. Some of the things that the coat's soul carries are going to be your grandmother's, but it has also belonged to who knows how many selkies before her.
I'm gonna get some air outside, and it has just occurred to me that in having this coat, I'm also in it.
You are.
Huh. I'm gonna stand outside.
You'd like to go outside and tell me how you feel about that?
No. Yes. Wow, okay. I didn't expect it to. I'm uncomfortable with the idea that this isn't my. I didn't think that the coat was going to take over my body like this. I guess I didn't really think to ask because I didn't think I'd have to worry about it. It's just occurred to me that this, I don't know how I feel about having other people's memories. It feels very personal. Is it raining outside?
It is.
I think for a second, I don't open the umbrella. I think I'm still a little concerned by it. So
it doesn't feel like a sword in your hand anymore. Just feels like an umbrella.
Yeah, and who hasn't played swords with umbrellas and other long sticks?
That's very true. I don't know about anybody else, but it's the only thing I want to do. So
yeah, it's a umbrella, good stick, that sort of energy. I think I just need to stand. I need fresh air and just be here in my the shitty little quad. Yeah. I don't know that I was prepped I was never told that it was going to do this. Which is, I guess, kind of cool, but I guess it could be more intrusive, and it's not, so I'll count my blessings. But I definitely open the umbrella and just stand outside, like breathing fresh air and just looking at, the grass and watching the orange sodium lights making everything kind of pretty and gold, and with the rain it's kind of sparkly, which is nice.
Things continue in roughly that way for a while. You don't get a whole lot more in the way of moments where your body reacts to the things that the coat is showing or making you feel. And you start to realize that it is less that the coat is taking over your body and more that the coat is, you are remembering things that other people could do, and your body is reacting because it feels natural to react that way. It's like the coat has given you a certain amount of muscle memory that goes along with the memories. But none of the memories are ever whole enough to really put anything together. It's moments, snippets.
I think it's starting to... I think there's a point where I'm starting to try to hang on to the memories as they come because I want to see them more.
Okay. Like I said, nothing that you get is more than a snippet here and there. It's hard to catch things. They're fleeting. And they always come at moments when you're not ready for them.
Yeah.
Like when you try to will it to happen, nothing happens, and it's very frustrating.
Just standing in the coat in the middle of the room, like, come on.
Yep, pretty much.
Do something.
But eventually you kind of fall into a rhythm, and you find over the years at college, over the months, really, it happens really fast. You become much more confident in your body. Your style of dress starts to shift, and you become a lot more outgoing socially, and kind of start to date a lot. Your grades, thankfully, don't slip. You're very smart. But you find that you are much more kind of into the social scene. You end up with a string of boyfriends. You get together with somebody and you have a really brief, really intense fling, and then you are on to the next person. And you've kind of left like a trail of broken hearts behind you by the time you graduate. And move to Georgetown.
Honestly,
where the cycle continues until you graduate there. Eventually, you find your way to DC. You are introduced to members of the court there, and you settle in with an internship and a job at a coffee shop run by, or owned, primarily by a boggin, who is a fantasy author that you enjoy, and is also a lawyer.
I haven't told Rowan this in exactly these words, but I liked his work because it does kind of remind me of us and what we've experienced. Or at least growing. I haven't told him this because I did find it when I was in like middle school.
Yeah,
I don't want him to feel old.
That's fair. There are moments that happen in the books and arcs that characters go on that remind you of the things that your coat has shown you. And you settle into this life in DC where you work part-time at the coffee shop, and you work as an intern, and things are, by and large, going pretty good. You're broke, real broke, because you're an intern.
Yeah,
but you know you've made some decent companions in your motley. Your boss, Maureen, seems really sweet. She's very, very much a creature of habit, and very sweet, or very, very serious, but is not like mean to you in any way. She's just, this is the way things need to be, and these are the expectations I have for you, and you will meet them.
I love very
structure.
I love structure and clear expectations. Thank you.
You have met Dame Lucretia. Kind of took you in when you first got there. She got you settled, introduced you to Rowan. She pops in every now and again to check on you when your grandmother expresses being worried, but kind of for the most part is happy to like let you do your thing. Your friend Jillian, on the other hand, is kind of always around. Or at least around as much as they can be. They're a little bit of a whirlwind compared to your very, low energy, chill kind of life. Jillian always has a new coat. And it's always some sort of wacky style or color that came out like years prior to anything current. And, they're that person who wears boots with 3-inch platforms because they can. And oversized sunglasses that take up most of their face. But that's
in fairness,
also,
the boots make us the same height.
That's true.
So.
It does make it way easier for them to see eye to eye with you. They're the person who kind of shows up in this whirlwind of energy like, I got tickets to such and such play at Ford's Theater and we're going. And you're like, but I don't have any money. And they're just, you don't need it because daddy's rich. You realized probably not until after... Probably not until like the month of y'all graduating. They're his wild child and he just kind of gives them money to keep them happy so they don't get into too much trouble.
Damn.
They have a job because they like it, not because they have to have it.
Ooh. What would that be like? Sorry. They don't. Okay, in fairness, Goose doesn't love everyone I date anyway.
No, they don't. Goose disapproves of probably 60% of the people that you think about bringing home, and 80% of the ones that you do bring home. But Goose doesn't think that anyone is good enough for their best friend.
Well, and I get it. That's very kind of. I don't know. There's something. There's always something.
Yeah. They are generally kind of poo-poo on Carter, but they put up with it with a good-natured sigh. The first time they met Carter, or I shouldn't say the first time they met Carter, like the 5th time they met Carter, they pulled Carter aside in front of you and very loudly told them that they'd better not break your heart or they'll break Carter's legs.
Okay, first of all,
with their stomping boots.
I'm right here. I truly, it has become routine almost to just get between Carter and Goose and just, hey, it's fine. I can't explain why I like Carter to Goose because I'd have to explain the other stuff.
Yeah, Carter just sort of gives like a sheepish smile anytime this happens. Where he's just like, I don't know why you don't like me, but I'm sorry that I made you mad. Like,
I would do terrible things to that smile. Sorry, that was out loud. And just as Goose comes in like a whirlwind, Goose also tends to leave like a whirlwind. They stay in regular touch and are the type of person that even when you are really busy and kind of terrible at keeping up with things because you've got 3 dates and work and your internship and all that other stuff, they will always pop up. They always seem to pop up when you need them. Or at the very least always seem to be available when you need them.
And it is 2023 or 2024 December. You've just come back from like family Christmas. You've put in your latest shift at the coffee shop, and you are in your crummy little apartment that you kind of share with Elodie. When the flashes start to happen again. First time in years that you've experienced anything. You have that memory of being on horseback, like you're riding for your life, like you can feel your heart in your throat. You feel terrified, but also determined. And somebody is clinging on to you from behind, like they're desperate not to fall off. That happens one morning when you are waiting at the bus stop to take you to your internship. Or waiting for the bus to take you to your internship. Where there's just this long moment of just experiencing this flight that feels like it is for your life. And it's the most intense you've ever had it. You can hear and smell and feel everything. It's like you're there.
Is there anyone else at the bus station? Or the bus stop?
When you snap out of it, there's a woman sitting nearby, but she doesn't seem to have noticed anything. She's on her phone.
I pull out my phone and I start to text Goose and realize I can't. So I like scroll past Elodie kind of back, and then I'll text Carter.
Okay, what are you gonna text?
I just had the weirdest thing happen. And I'll add like a little sparkle emoji.
And you get back, do you need like FaceTime, or can you text about it?
I think it, and
you know by FaceTime he means, do you want me to come there in person?
Yeah. I think I would have told him a little bit of what this. He's probably not the first. He's probably the first changeling I've dated.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. But I know I can talk to him about this stuff, and I can't really talk to like Goose, and I can't really. Elodie's weird. I love Elodie. She's a lot. I don't want that energy for this. This is special. So I think I've told him about these flashes, but memory flashes before. And so I'll just remind him, like, hey, do you remember when I told you about getting the coat? And this is and like, I've had one of those flashes again.
You get back, I remember. Are you okay?
Yeah, I think so. It's just been a while.
Well, we don't always know why these things happen, when they happen, or how they happen. But I know some people will go years, and then a lot of things will happen, and then it'll quiet back down again. Maybe it's getting you ready for something.
I can't imagine what.
Me either. It's kind of boring around here.
Don't say that.
I mean, it is a little bit, except for the... hold on. Sorry. Computer's being weird. Come on. Be nice. Do the thing.
I definitely think Carter's not it is getting close to Georgie's longest relationship, but the bar is in hell.
Yeah, that's fair. Sorry. I can back
You're
on
good.
topic. My like everything decided to lock up for a minute. I was like, no. We're good. I mean, the most exciting thing that's happened is the Parliament of Dreams moving recently. But it's not like that has anything to do with us.
No. Gosh, I hope not. Yeah. I don't know. Do you get anything like that?
I got a little bit when and he sends you like the fairy sparkles symbol. I got a lot when it happened, but not much since.
Huh.
But I know it works differently for you.
I guess so. And I send a little shrug.
Well, I'm always here if you need to talk about it, but sorry, I'm not more helpful.
It's fine. And then like just a like swimming later ?
You get back. Well, it's December. That's easier for you than it is for me, but maybe for a little while, sure.
I just send back a little dog emoji.
He's just like, yeah, still pretty cold for me, but yeah, absolutely.
Yay. And I just send back like a seal gif. Just a little seal like banana-ing.
We could take out the boat.
Really?
Yeah.
And there's just like a bunch of little hearts.
All right, I have to get back to work, but I'll see you later.
Georgie starts to write "love you" and then deletes it really quickly and just sends another heart.
You get 4 hearts back, and then your bus arrives. And that is where we're going to stop.